Good evening from the West Coast. It is May 30th, a day that we might as well call May Day. May Day, May Day, because so many cities around the United States are burning and shaken with violence. And here in Seattle, we have been on curfew since 5 p.m. today. And this is super dismaying. This is super dismaying for all of us. But for me as an outsider living here, as an immigrant, I find it especially dismaying because you find yourselves to be, you Americans think you are so diverse, but actually I see that you are very homogenous. You think you are so fragmented, but I actually think you are very united by certain values that you all share and strengths and weaknesses that you all have, which have actually led you to this sad place. Again, these are observations as an outsider. I've been here for many years. I have before that lived all over the world and had to adjust to many different cultures. And I have to say that I've never had so much issue with adjusting to a culture as here, despite the fact that living in America is very, very easy. I find your culture to be one that actually doesn't jive all that well these days with what makes for a very healthy democracy. And so here are some observations for whatever worth they have. The first is that you're a very superficial nation. You're superficial in your personal relationships. You're superficial in how you go about politics and even in your business dealings. But this is actually a wonderful thing because when it comes to business, for example, it's great to just look at things enough and look at them rather superficially, because you can take in many, many, many ideas all at once, and then you can value them and you can evaluate them to say like, okay, are these worth pursuing? And if they are, you're not going to overthink things, right? You're not going to go back through historic precedent or whether an idea is worth it or whether a company could exist or not, like other cultures would, and they would analyze themselves to death. You guys just look at things superficially and pursue them. This is a wonderful strength. The issue with such superficial examination of things is that oftentimes, especially in social discourse, it means you completely lack logic. And there's all these fallacies that you guys have adopted as tools for winning arguments that are completely destroying the fabric of healthy debate, which is a foundation of a republic or a democracy, however you want to refer to yourselves. I find it so bizarre that you Americans would talk about skin color and evaluate one another based on skin color when that has nothing at all to do with personal choice. And aren't you guys all about personal choice? I'm afraid you guys have really lost all nuance when it comes to examining situations. But that's maybe because another thing you guys all share is that everything becomes this game of team against team. From an early, early age, Americans are put out on the sports field, put out on the sports court, and told, beat the other team. Now, this is wonderful. Again, this is a strength because Americans learn from very young how to work together. And so it's another thing that makes the business environment here so robust is that people know how to get things done together. People know how to work on that team. But what's so sad about it is you guys put everything into one team against the other. Okay, look what you do in politics. It's the left versus the right. It's the Democrats versus the Republicans. And you act as if all human issues can be bifurcated into two camps. Friends, that's not logical. That's not true. It's asinine. It's amazing to me how even the most intelligent among you are able to be so rabidly loyal to whatever stance your party takes on an issue. Please, guys, this has to stop. You as an individual have to be willing to argue with that friend of yours from the same political party, okay? And you certainly need to be able to compliment something that the other party stands for. I understand why you have a two-party system, okay? I'm not asking that to be dismantled, although there might be value in it. But what you have to do as participants in this republic is not act like all the human issues are in one camp or another. But it's very comfortable. And that's one thing you guys value above all else. Besides efficiency and money, You guys want comfort, but I guess they're all related. So when it comes to comfort, you have your sweatpants, you have your big cars, you have your drive-through, your to-go cups, your one-stop shop like Walmart or Costco. And these are all very popular inventions, as evidenced by the fact that the rest of the world is gobbling up these systems that you've created. The issue with comfort, though, is that you're very uncomfortable with discomfort. And so you don't want to get involved in situations that are uncomfortable. So especially when it comes to social injustices, I have seen over and over again, Americans from all walks of life, no, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm not going to stand up for that because I'm so comfortable. And why would I risk being so comfortable? Friends, this is dangerous. You have to be willing to get involved in what's happening on the other side of the fence, even if it were never to cross into your yard. But you Americans seem to only get involved in an issue once it interferes with your rights and your privileges. It's understandable, but it's unhealthy. Abraham Heschel, a wonderful Jewish philosopher who wrote here in the United States, he said regarding racism, he said, "Some are guilty, all are responsible." And I have to tell you, this applies to all injustices and all disease in your society these days. Some, yes, are guilty, outright guilty, but all of you, all of us are responsible. Please, guys, it doesn't work to tear down your country by yelling at other people and blaming them, blaming that person, blaming that party, blaming that group. You're actually all Americans. You all have this great privilege of having great freedoms to be the humans that you want to be. Yes, there are unhealthy systems, but the reasons there are unhealthy systems in this country is because you're superficial in how you analyze things, and you so enthusiastically get behind one team or another, behind one company or another. You don't hold people accountable, it's not comfortable, and you just want to sit on your couch and watch TV. Tiger King, right? Isn't that the show that everybody's obsessed with? Now I understand that the other thing that happened today, May 30th, is the SpaceX launch. And wasn't that a beautiful moment? Wasn't that a beautiful moment of seeing what human effort can do on this soil, in this system of America, in this relatively healthy democracy? Okay, but it happens, these kind of things happen only when people work together. So instead of seeing yourselves as various teams fighting each other, why don't you think of yourselves as one big team with some issues, but by extending grace to one another and thinking of yourselves more as people who have this precious, precious gift of America, this grand human experiment in human history, and doing your part to keep the Republic